Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of FFB from the 50. I'm your host Dan Amsler, and tonight we have another great episode planned for you. We have our 5 up, 5 down from week 4, as well as a look ahead at the news, notes, injuries, and highlights you need to know going into week 5. But before we get into that, I've got to do a couple more shout outs. Angie D, thank you so much for commenting on my Facebook post about the channel. I appreciate you going out and watching all my videos. Thank you, I appreciate it. Next shout out I want to give is to my daughter. My daughter Matty just made the All-Region Honor Band. Congratulations to you. It's pretty exciting when an 8th grader makes that. That's really, really high praise for somebody her age. So Matty, congratulations. Awesome job. I'm proud of you. All right, so starting this week with our 5 up, I'm going to start with Tyler Algier. And this is looking at Cordarrelle Patterson's injury. So if you've been paying attention, Cordarrelle Patterson is on the IR. He is expected to return. This is not the season-ending IR. He had a knee procedure done. Next man up is Tyler Algier. So looking at the stats last week, he actually averaged over 8 yards per carry, which is pretty impressive. He also was used in the passing game. So this opens a 4-week window of opportunity for Tyler to prove that he deserves a bigger role on that offense. Next one up, Mike Boone. So Javonte Williams is out for the season with a torn ACL for the Denver Broncos. Most people would assume that Melvin Gordon is the next man up for them. However, Melvin Gordon has fumbled 4 times already through 4 weeks. Mike Boone got a lot of the carries after Javonte went out and after Melvin Gordon had that fumble. Now, I do want to pump the brakes just a little bit. The Denver Broncos went out and signed Latavius Murray from the New Orleans Saints practice squad. But right now, Mike Boone looks like he might be the guy, especially if Melvin Gordon continues to fumble. That is one of the things that those coaches will not stand for. Hey, TJ Hawkinson. First off, thank you. You almost single-handedly won me a high score in $40 this week. You also helped me kick my brother's butt. Nathan, this shout-out goes out to you. I love it when we face each other, especially when I have the biggest blowout of the week against you. So, TJ Hawkinson showed up. Finally delivered a 12-target, 8-reception, 179-yard, 2-touchdown, and a 2-point conversion week this week. He was the number 1 scorer in the flex position for all scorers in PPR settings. Now, granted, a lot of this had to do with the fact that the Detroit Lions were missing Amon-Ra St. Brown, DJ Chark, and DeAndre Swift as the running back out of the backfield, but still quite impressive. And we can't do the 5 ups talking about Detroit's offense without also talking about Jared Goff. Jared Goff, missing his 2 top wide receivers and DeAndre Swift, did lean on TJ Hawkinson, but he also went to Reynolds and the other wide receivers, delivered a 378-yard, 4-touchdown through 2 two-point conversions, all without his top weapons. So, Jared Goff, at some point, folks, we have to admit that Detroit offense looks real, and he's at the helm. Jared Goff, tip of the cap to you, buddy. Number 5 on stock up, Austin Eckler. So if you were one of the folks that took Austin Eckler in the first round, we finally got the performance that we were looking for. Eckler had 109 total yards. He had 6 receptions and 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground and 1 through the air. And because this is my channel, you have a bonus up. This one is not going to a player. This is a shout out, Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions and the entire Detroit Lion offense. Folks, I don't know if you realize this, but the Detroit Lions have scored 140 points through 4 weeks this season. They are leading the NFL in scoring. Now here's what I really love from a fantasy perspective. While they've scored 140 points, they've also given up 141. Anytime you have a team that is putting up that kind of points while giving up the same amount of points on the opposite end is a recipe for fantasy gold. So, 5 up goes to Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, and the entire Detroit offense. All right, starting this week with the 5 down, I've got to start with Garrett Wilson. Now, this is no knock on Garrett Wilson's with his talent, but Zach Wilson is back at the helm for the New York Jets. Congratulations on the victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers this week, but Zach Wilson does seem to have better chemistry with both Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. So for that purposes, we have to downgrade Garrett Wilson just a little bit. Next one, stock down, Carson Wentz. If you've been paying attention to the fireside chats, we talked about how Carson Wentz through the first 3 weeks was a top 10 quarterback for fantasy purposes. That really has to do with 2 good weeks to start the season. But in weeks 3 and 4, he played against his NFC East rivals, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, both of which have figured out how to shut him down. So Carson Wentz, stock down. Number 3, Antonio Gibson. Antonio has performed well so far this year, but it sounds like Brian Robinson will be activated off the NFI list, which is the non-football injury list this week. Ron Rivera has already come out and said that he has a good chance to suit up and actually play some snaps. So having said that, Antonio Gibson, stock down. Looks like Brian Robinson is going to come back and start cutting into that workload. All right, next one up, Gabriel Davis. Gabriel Davis since week 1. Now he did miss a game, but since week 1 only has 4 catches for 50 yards and 0 touchdowns through the first 4 weeks of the season. There are a lot of folks who are really high in Gabriel Davis. He is not living up to that so far this year. Next one, stock down, number 5, Mitch Trubisky. It is Kenny Pickett time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kenny Pickett has now been named the starter. It is official. Their depth chart reflects this. Mike Tomlin said that their offense needs a boost. So, stock down, Mitch Trubisky. Kenny Pickett, welcome to the show. And your bonus stock down, we got to go with Tua. And I want you guys to tune in for the next episode of Fantasy Fireside Chat. I've got a paramedic coming in, and we're going to talk about what happened with Tua and his take on it. But the bonus stock down is Tua, just because Miami has let him down so bad. If you watch the game against Buffalo, it was very clear that something was wrong. They put him back in against Cincinnati, and he went down again with a terrifying injury. I hope to never see that again, but it is a part of the game. I feel like with Tua, though, that could have been avoided if they had taken him out and not played him like they should have. All right, looking ahead to Week 5, here's some news, notes, and injuries that we need to know. Kenny Pickett is the new starter for Pittsburgh. Breece Hall seems to have taken over the number 1 running back spot for the New York Jets. He had 17 carries to Carter's 9, and he also had twice as many targets as Michael Carter had. And Breece Hall was able to get the goal line carry and punch it in for a touchdown. Dak Prescott still can't hold the ball properly, so it looks like he's going to miss another week. I know Jerry Jones and the Cowboys have not flat out ruled him out yet at this point, but we should see that later on today. Latavius Murray signed with the Denver Broncos. With Javonte Williams going down and Melvin Gordon's fumbling issues, I guess that really doesn't come as too much of a surprise. It is going to be interesting to see if Denver is active in the trade market. They may target a guy like Alexander Madison. They may actually target a guy like David Montgomery from the Bears. They have higher aspirations this year, and Melvin Gordon is absolutely killing them with the turnovers. Both Gus Edwards and Brian Robinson are nearing their return. Both guys are back to practicing. And Chris Godwin returned this week from his nagging hamstring injury, and he looked pretty good. He saw 10 targets, catching 7 of those for 59 yards in Tampa Bay's game this week. Both Tua and Isaiah McKenzie are in concussion protocol. Tua has already been ruled out for Week 5. We'll see if Isaiah McKenzie can make it back. I would not be surprised if he did not. I would say that right now everybody in the league is hypersensitive to concussions based upon what we saw with Tua. Javonte Williams is out for the season with a torn ACL. As we discussed, Cordarrelle Patterson is going to the IR, designated to return. So is Jamison Crowder with a broken ankle. So we talked about Gabriel Davis being on stock down, but if both Isaiah McKenzie is out and Jamison Crowder is out with that broken ankle, Gabriel Davis should see an uptick in targets. Keep your eye on Dawson Knox as well. All right, moving on. Jonathan Taylor is banged up. He's got an ankle injury. Andy's fighting some turf toe. He says that he wants to try to play, but with that game being Thursday night this week, it's going to be a bit of a stretch. If you can, go out and pick up Nyheim Hines. Seems like he's going to be the safer bet. Even if Jonathan Taylor does suit up, it does not mean he's going to see his normal workload, and he may not be effective on the touches that he does get. So I would go out and grab Nyheim Hines. Treylon Burks is also fighting turf toe. So I know Robert Woods was drafted in a lot of leagues. He's been released from a lot. Might be time to go out and pick him up. Jahan Dotson is also week to week with a hamstring injury. And another injury scare, DK Metcalf was carted off the field for Seattle this week. He avoided major injury. Turns out DK was only carted off because he had to use the restroom and it was too much of an emergency. So, if you were a DK Metcalf owner and you saw the report that he was carted off, you could breathe a sigh of relief. I just wouldn't do it around the restroom. So DK is fine despite being carted off. All right, taking a look at some of the matchups that I'm looking forward to this week. I want to see what Detroit's offense can do against the New England Patriots defense. I want to see what James Robinson can do against Houston's run defense. So James Robinson, along with the Jacksonville Jaguars, Travis Etienne, is facing Houston this week. Houston has given up the most fantasy points to running backs, and it's not even close. If you go back and look at the game logs, they've given up over 100 yards and double-digit points to virtually every running back that's played against them. Just look at what Khalil Herbert did to him when they played against the Bears. Another matchup that I'm looking for is the entire Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals game this week. Should be a good game. I'm excited to see that slugfest. So if you're looking for a game that should have some excitement on both sides of the ball, that's one that I would strongly suggest watching. So, all right, folks, I've got a huge favor to ask you. If you've made it this far, I need you to do me a favor. This channel's been stuck on around 30 to 32 subscribers. I need you to go down and hit that subscribe button. YouTube really does pick up on that. I want you to go down and hit the like button. I want you to go down in the comment section, leave a like, make a comment. Let me know who you think stocks are up, who you think stocks are down, what you're looking forward to in week 5. Go down to the comment section and just say, hey, let's have a conversation down there. Hey, in the meantime, I really appreciate you all watching. Thank you very much. And until next time, see ya.